Your protest statement in the form of a question, that would be appreciated.
All right, so I'm PG, I'm interning at the Cato Institute. Congratulations for your panel. I love your message on how we should focus on the positive for private enterprise rather than denigrating government, however evil it may be. However, for some reason there's still the stigma that free enterprise is what brought us to the Depression. What would be some of the arguments we could use to counter that, considering how much evidence there is that capitalism is actually what causes poverty?
I can just, one brief comment. I think one is just articulating that you are positive for something and moving in some positive direction. I don't know that that view is prevalent among some, but I think that if we are shown to be pursuing opportunity and pursuing better policies that help people in a tangible way, I think that's the most effective way to combat it. And I mean, you can make broader arguments about, economic growth and all these things. But I think that putting it in more human terms like that might be one part of it.
I'm going to jump in on that. I think there's also just a really quick and dirty answer is that free enterprise has done more to lift more people out of poverty and oppression than any other government system ever created in the history of mankind. That should be like a basic talking point of every conservative and libertarian and every conservative libertarian politician, period. Like, I don't know why that's not our go-to answer on some of this stuff. And the overwhelming majority of statistics and data collection has revealed this. Bill and Melinda Gates had a great little 4-minute video thing on how we've nearly eradicated abject poverty over the last 7 years, or not really eradicated, but the rates have gone down to like a quarter of of people on planet Earth living on less than $1 a day, or the equivalent thereof, to something like less than 10%, which is really, really remarkable change. And we should just talk about how free enterprise empowers people and lifts them out of poverty and not be ashamed of it. And in fact, I'm a little vindictive, and if you ever played a board game with me, you'll know this. I think we should go on the offensive. It's not just enough to respond to say free enterprise is providing a positive solution, but I think we really do need to go more on the moral offensive and say, in fact, progressive liberal politics has done more to put people into poverty and trap people in cycles of generational poverty than any other political ideology. The entire experiment of communism, as Matt Lauer described it, as a pivotal experiment in the Russian history during the Olympic opening games. Whatever. But we should be more willing to call them out on their BS, basically, and how oppressive that those policies have been towards countless millions of people around the globe, but especially in our own experiment in the United States.
Yeah, if I can add one thing on that, I know our moderator's not really supposed to answer the questions, but
You're more than welcome to.
I think one thing that is important to not lose sight of, particularly on the right, when we have a crisis where people really are suffering in real terms right then, and something needs to be done. I mean, I'm very libertarian, but I'm also pragmatic, right? Like, if you walk into a room and your child is on the floor bleeding because they've cut themselves with a kitchen knife, the answer is to stop the bleeding. The answer is not to get rid of the kitchen knives in the house, right? So you have to think through what is necessary at that point in time. And so being in the good years an advocate, an ardent advocate for free enterprise that extols the benefits from poverty alleviation, but also says, there are people who are really suffering, and just, a blanket, completely hands-off system isn't necessarily going to provide them with what they need to get ahead because of just how the system is structured right now, and having the types of solutions that, that AEI, that Cato are putting out there to help those people where they are and advocating for them in good and bad times. And in bad times, being willing to be more creative, not being like, our jobs, program is the Keystone Pipeline, which is an important part of jobs creation, right? But you need more than that, right? So being able to respond differently in different times, I think, is an important way to say, a free market economy is there for everyone at any point in their lives. Cameron.